Well, the other connection, of course, like I mentioned, is Metallica, which I feel I would be remiss if I didn't at least mention it. But your history with them goes back even before the band was really a thing, because you met Lars, I believe, in the summer of 1981,
Correct.
because he was just a fan of Diamond Head, and so you guys ended up meeting.
That's right. He bought the album as when we put it in mail order in Sounds. He bought a copy over in LA, and then he wrote back to the address that was like our fan club and said, I'm coming over to see, because we must have advertised the gigs, and we've got a tour booked for the summer of '81 in the UK. And he said, I'm coming over. And we thought it was great because we had a fan in America, and it was Lars. Like, he was the only guy, I think, who bought a copy of the album in America, because we knew, because our management told us, Sean's mom and Reg, they would have said, "Oh, there's a guy bought the album in the States. That's great, isn't it? And he's coming over to see the band. He's going to fly." And we thought, bloody hell, he's keen, isn't he? And so we met Lars backstage at this gig, and he's 17 years old, and we were very impressed that, wow, how have you managed to do that? Your parents have let you come over to the state to the UK on your own. It must have cost a bit of money, because we'd never been to the States, and it was quite a thing. And we took to him. We thought, we looked after him a bit. I let him stop at mine. Well, it was my parents. I'm still living with my parents at this point. And it's the same with Sean. He went back to Sean's mom's and slept on the couch. And he stayed with us for about a month or so. And he came to some gigs with us. He'd sit in the car. There'd be initially there'd be five of us in the car, with John driving, and then Sean, myself, Colin, and Duncan on the back seat. And now there's six of us, because now there've been myself, Colin, Duncan, and Lars on the back seat, all going to these gigs. We did a gig in Leeds, I remember, and one in Hereford. And but we took to him like Tim. He got this ridiculously unusual accent. It was a mixture of Danish and American, and we thought he was a nice guy and super enthusiastic. So we stayed in touch, and we became pen pals, And he was always wanting to see how we were doing, and when you're going to become the next big thing and stuff like that. So yeah, we stayed in touch, and I've been to see Metallica many, many times over the years, and he's returned the favour. I've stopped at his house, and it's great. It's a lovely little tale, isn't it?
That really is an incredible story. And so 3 years after you meet him in 1984, they put out the Creeping Death single, and include "Am I Evil" as the B-side on that. Now, obviously, that was for Ride the Lightning, which is only their second record, so they certainly didn't have the profile that they would eventually go on to have at that time. But did that work to Diamond Head's benefit at all back in those days?
Not so much, because, like you said, they're a lot smaller, and they're on Music for Nations over here. So it was only a small label, small deal. It was still really nice, though. They were the first band ever to cover Diamond Head, and on record. So to get that EP, the 12-inch single, was fantastic, and I thought they'd done a very respectful job, copying the music and trying to get the solo right and everything. And then I went to see them at Birmingham Odeon in '86, when they on the Master of Puppets tour, and they invited me up on stage to play "Am I Evil" with the band.
Yeah.
And so again, got to meet Cliff Burton at that time. So I've met Lars, but Lars introduced me to James, Kirk, and Cliff. So, and we all know what happened next. But that was a fantastic night for me to get up on stage with Metallica. Even though, like you say, they weren't household names they are now, but it was still, Lars's band, and it was cool.
Well, I would imagine when the Big Four thing happened out 15 or 10, 12 years ago, however long ago it was, when they brought all, Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, and Anthrax, and they did "Am I Evil" on stage together. I mean, were you there when they did that? Have you ever seen them do that live, or no?
You mean at the Bulgaria gig, the Sofia gig?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't there, but no, I didn't know about it. No, I did think though, of all the metal tracks in the world you could have done, they've managed to pick "Am I Evil," which was I was very flattered by. It was fantastic, really, considering that album hadn't even had a proper release, you
Yeah.
know, and labels had turned it down, and it had one review in Sounds, and that was it. No other magazine. Well, there weren't any other music magazines around at the time, really, but considering the humble beginnings of that album, where it cost, you know, we did it in a week and it cost not very much money to make and stuff. To have gone on to have a life like that and to end up being the song the Big Four choose to play at that giant gig was ever so weird to me, and you know, but I was of course grateful. It is a great riff, though. You know, it is a great riff. I'll give it that.
Of
To be
course.
fair.
Aside from, you know, financial gains, I'm sure the royalties from Metallica have been fair. But you know, I'm sure they've played a big role in just the overall even longevity and success of Diamond Head.
Yeah,
I mean, definitely
I think
brought a
so.
whole new audience to the band.
Yes, I think so. I think if Metallica had never covered any Diamond Head songs, I don't know if we'd still be going. I think it's been a massive help, and it probably opens a lot of doors. And you know, when you're talking to say promoters, and they say, "Well, you know, Metallica have covered 4 of their songs, etc." I'm sure it does, you know, bring in a potential much bigger audience, and has helped keep the band alive. Definitely, yeah.
Well, it's interesting how Saxon sort of ties into all this, because if I recall, Metallica's first ever show was opening for Saxon, and which now
Yeah.
you're a part of, and like a majority of their set was Diamond Head songs.
That's so weird, isn't it?
It is.
How
It's
it's all gone
crazy.
full circle. Yeah, they probably played 3 or 4 Damned songs,
Wow.
and then I've ended up joining Saxon. It is strange, but just maybe, you know, synchronicity and things like that. But yeah, definitely strange. Yeah.